this is Mike, Seder 42 Vinyl. I'm going to do a video. This is going to be, I'm going to try to make a shorter video maybe, but this is going to be for metal that I purchased in December 2018. And I'm going to do like modern metal first, everything that's kind of more new. And then I'm going to do a second video of kind of like the back catalog stuff that I bought, older albums that I found used, or even some reissues. But yeah, we'll see how this goes. I might be able to do it pretty quickly. So I hope you watch all my videos. I really do. Because I say some things in other videos that, because I make these videos kind of in a row. And I say some things in the other ones that I don't just repeat over and over again in all the videos. So anyway, I said a bunch of stuff in my indie rock video or hard rock video that you might want to listen just the beginning of if you want. I mean, I don't know if anybody's even watching these. I hope you're enjoying them. All right, so the first albums that I'm going to show out of the modern ones, I'm going to show stuff that I like the most out of things that I bought in December 2018. And the first thing that I got, these albums are some of my favorite. And I discovered this stuff years ago. Before I started collecting vinyl, I discovered this band. And they immediately became one of my favorite bands. And I started listening to the other albums from this artist. Because he's in he's in two bands technically. Well, kind of one band now, but he was in two bands at the time. And he kind of split his time between those two bands. But he wanted to do this kind of solo thing where he just wanted to do this rock opera. And, if you watched any of my other videos, you know that Arjun Lucassen from Arion is one of my favorite artists. I kind of like, like King Diamond a lot. So I've always liked, artists that do stories and stuff in their music and kind of have that rock opera feel. But this artist specifically did this, and he kind of followed Arion a little bit, because this came out after, Arion kind of was doing well and Arjun was doing well with his stuff. I don't think he's just like, oh, Arjun's doing it well, so I'm going to do it. I do think that, this guy was like influenced to do it by himself, but he, is a similar person like Arjun. He probably likes a lot of the same stuff. So was just interested in doing a concept album basically. And this is 2 parts of an album, and these got released on vinyl, or I think they were on vinyl before this, but these were like new reissues that had come out in 2018. And I jumped on these as soon as I could. As soon as I found out about them, I was so glad they were still available, because I got them I got them for normal price. But I highly, 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 highly recommend these albums, these 2 albums in particular. And the first one is Avantasia. This is the Metal Opera Part 1. And these are the Platinum Edition versions on colored vinyl. This is the clear. These came out back in 2001. The first one came out in January of 2001, and the second one came out in October 2002. So these were, they took a while to make. Now, Tobias Sammet is in another band called Ed Guy, and he is the lead singer for that band and lead songwriter, I believe, as well. But this metal opera album is a band. It has tons of different singers and musicians on it. Even though he's not listed here, he says in the credits that Michael Kiske from Halloween sang on a lot of these songs. Maybe it was just like harmonies or backup vocals, or maybe he did it on his own. I think it was harmonies with Tobias, because he's not listed here as a particular character, but he definitely sang on a lot of this stuff, and this is very Halloween influenced music. And Tobias even admits it in the liner notes here. He talks about, which is really amazing. I mean, the guy just seems like a really cool guy in general, really likable. But, he talks about, how he knows he's ripping off Halloween, but because he got the guys from Halloween to be in this band, to play either instruments or even sing, that he's like, yeah, I guess it's okay. They're cool with it. I'm cool with it. But, there are songs that could have been on a Halloween album for sure. Especially the song I'll play you called Reach Out for the Light. Michael Kiske does sing on that song, and this album and all the Avantasia stuff, honestly, is incredibly melodic power metal. It is just so, 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 so good. It's some of my favorite stuff. It is incredibly replayable for me. It's just incredibly melodic and heavy too, really thrashy, you know, in a way, power metal-ish. You know, it has that happy. Power metal is usually happy, you know, it's upbeat. So it definitely has that going for it. And the storyline in here, it's vast. It is, and it's cool because like he did the whole story, he wrote it out about about just the story in general, what it's about, and then he goes through each song inside the liner notes here as well. You know, he does this whole thing where he talks about, you know, getting the band together, and then he does a breakdown of each song. I mean, you don't really get this in a lot of special editions or reissues, you know, where the artist just sits down and says, hey, this is what my music's about. This is how I feel about it. He even talks about songs on here he doesn't like. You know, he's like, yeah, this song kind of sucks. I don't like it. I don't like how it turned out. But, you know, it's really cool. He's really, really cool artist. And yeah, that's the metal opera. And then this reissue came out, I believe, the same month, August 2018. And this is the Metal Opera Part 2, and this one came out on orange. And the same thing, the gatefold is the story, the inside lyric sheet is the lyrics, and then on the opposite sides of the lyric sheet is, you know, his discussion of each song and, you know, a discussion about the album. So it's really, really great stuff. I can't recommend Avantasia, the Metal Opera Part 1 and Part 2 enough. And then he goes on and continues to make albums under Avantasia. He kind of goes back and forth between Edguy and Avantasia after this stuff is done. But yeah, Edguy's been kind of, I think they're not together anymore. They're disbanded, or at least Tobias is just not writing music for them anymore. I don't know what those guys are doing, you know, those other the artists in that band or the musicians in that who were in Edguy with him. I'd be curious to find out, I guess. Maybe they're in other bands or doing other stuff. But anyway, Edguy has been kind of defunct since Avantasia has gotten so successful. And there's, I don't know, like 10 Avantasia albums now. Maybe a little bit less than that, or probably around 10, 8 or 10 albums. I think it's about 10. But anyway, really, really good stuff. And then he made an album, the Scarecrow Trilogy, 3 albums in that storyline. And then then he writes kind of like a new album with a new story. Most of the stuff is available still. I highly, highly recommend it. And here's a couple songs that I want to play for you just to see if I can get you hooked. Okay. Next album is a band, female singer. Again, love me some female vocals. And this is Jinjer. Pisces is that video from Jinjer that gets all the reactors do reactions to, like all these singers and vocalists. You know, they're like, "Oh, I'm gonna listen to this," and she's singing all nice, and then all of a sudden she's like, singing the gruff vocals and stuff. So, and everybody's just shocked when it comes out of her mouth. You know, Tatiana. The video for the album was "I Speak Astronomy." I'm pretty sure that I saw that first, and I was just like, "Oh, this is cool," because I do like gent stuff, and that's kind of what this is. It's metalcore with a bit of melody in it. Another band that's like this, but is on the more melodic side, is The Agonist, who recently decided to break up. You know, they're not making any more records, which is incredibly disappointing. But The Agonist, I love The Agonist. Good stuff. This is King of Everything. Has some really good songs on here, and I'll play one that's not Pisces and that's not Astronomy. All right. The next modern album that I bought is a death metal record. This is Obscura. This is, I believe, their first album, and this is a reissue, and this is pretty good. You know, you can kind of hear where they're going from here, but these guys at this point are very much, because Obscura, they got their name from a title of an album from the band Gorguts. And Gorguts is very similar death metal to this, you know, kind of like progressive death metal with a lot of, just, a lot of progressive parts to it. Really discordant. I got it on this really nice splatter vinyl. This is pretty cool too. The splatter vinyl, you'll see it when I play it, but it has this white milky in the middle, which is kind of cool. I wish more of the clear vinyl would do that, because it just aesthetically, like, it doesn't affect the playback or anything. I'm not like staring at the record the whole time. But it is just kind of cool of a design, and it kind of matches the art. And this is brand new art for this particular album, because this album came out back in 2006, and it had completely different art. But after this album, they started with this particular artist and this particular art style. And each album is like a concept. They have the same concept art every time. And so I think they started with this. They wanted to redesign the cover art for that. Anyway, that's what they did. This is very Gorgutsy. I'll play a song. This they're not quite incredibly progressive yet at this point. This is more just straight up death metal. In the, like I said, in early Gorguts, Erosion of Sanity era Gorguts, kind of. So, expect that kind of stuff. Still, though, really good riffing on here. Pretty good stuff here. Pretty good for Obscura. I like this kind of death metal. And the last album is Meshuggah. This is Casphere. This is, I think they had 2 other albums before this. This is like Meshuggah more, this is Meshuggah finally becoming kind of Meshuggah, like the modern sound that they have now. I think this is the first album where they really nailed it. They were working to this point on the previous albums because they were really like, they didn't have the, off timing guitar riffs yet. Not in this specific way, I don't think. I'll have to double check because this came out in 98. This is the first album that they did that. And the first 2 songs on here are really, really great. I think they play them live still sometimes. Both those songs are really good. They have really wild fucking riffs. And yeah, Meshuggah is a perfect fucking name for this band. It's just, they're just wild to listen to. Yeah, the riffing is amazing, and they just get better and better up until Obscura, which I think is their zenith, and then now they kind of leveled off. Maybe haven't reached that peak since, but they're still consistent, and that's pretty good, and they're consistently good, which is good. Some bands, they can be consistent, but then the songwriting just goes to shit. I don't think that's happened to Meshuggah. And this is this reissue came out in 2018. November 30th, 2018 is when it was reissued. And they did new artwork for it, did colored vinyl. Some of these were pressed on 45 RPM, some were 33 of the reissues. They did Obscura, they did Nothing, they did a couple other albums. I got Obscura, I got this and Obscura from this series, and then I kind of regretted not getting. I figured, they're going to be available, but no, they weren't. They fucking sold out, and they became really expensive, like Nothing, and I think there was another album in this series. I can't remember, but anyway, Meshuggah is a cool band, very discordant riffing. Time changes are all over the fucking place. Like, the riffs don't make any sense when you first listen to it. It's just like they're way off timing wise, and they just, like music that you're used to hearing a certain way, this is not that. And then, but they repeat those riffs, so it's like, it's not just Meshuggah. They actually there's actually math to it. This is kind of like, this is the jazz of heavy metal. It really is. I guess that's what I would say it is, because this type of music is very math oriented. And that's just a fact. That just is the way it is. Meshuggah is a mathcore band, really, because like the timing of everything is so weird and strange musically, but it's really cool. Anyway. Those are the modern bands that I bought, and I'll put out another video, a part 2 of metal, of the older bands and older music that I bought. All right, cool. Thanks. Bye.